Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi framed the Ayodhya flag hoisting ceremony today as the moment when wounds of centuries began to heal. Calling this a fulfillment of a 500-year civilizational debate, he said that the saffron Dharmdhwaj, which is on top of the Ram Mandir today, is not just a religious symbol but a banner of India's cultural renaissance. He also said that it symbolized Indians' sense of duty, truth and action. Prime Minister Modi linked the ceremony to India's future, saying that as a country moves towards 2047, which is his mission for Viksit Bharat, citizens of India must awaken the Ram within themselves. They should shed the mentality of slavery and they should build a nation that is rooted in confidence and heritage. He has urged people to visit Ayodhya's Saptamandapam as a reaffirmation of values like friendship, devotion and social harmony, something the Ramayana teaches all of us. Now, this event, marking the formal completion of the temple's construction, was positioned as a turning point that blends faith, culture and national aspirations. We'll have to wait and see how this changes India's politics and what does it mean for the people of the country. Before we are joined by guests, let me take you through some reactions.
आज सिद्धि को प्राप्त हो रहा है। आज उस यज्ञ की पूर्णाहुति है जिसकी अग्नि 500 वर्ष तक प्रज्वलित रही। जो यज्ञ एक पल भी आस्था से डिगा नहीं, एक पल भी विश्वास से टूटा नहीं। आज भगवान श्री राम के गर्भगृह की अनंत ऊर्जा, श्री राम परिवार का दिव्य प्रताप इस धर्म ध्वजा के रूप में इस दिव्यतम भव्यतम मंदिर में प्रतिष्ठापित हुआ है। और साथियों, ये धर्म ध्वजा केवल एक ध्वजा नहीं, ये भारतीय सभ्यता के पुनर्जागरण का ध्वज है। आज अयोध्या नगरी भारत की सांस्कृतिक चेतना के एक और उत्कर्ष बिंदु की साक्षी बन रही है। आज संपूर्ण भारत, संपूर्ण विश्व राममय है। हर राम भक्त के हृदय में अद्वितीय संतोष है, असीम कृतज्ञता है, अपार अलौकिक आनंद है। सदियों के घाव भर रहे हैं, सदियों की वेदना आज विराम पा रही है। सदियों का संकल्प, ये धर्मध्वज प्रेरणा बनेगा। प्राण जाए पर वचन न जाही, अर्थात जो कहा जाए वही किया जाए। ये धर्मध्वज संदेश देगा, कर्म प्रधान विश्व रची राखा, अर्थात विश्व में कर्म और कर्तव्य की प्रधानता हो। ये धर्मध्वज कामना करेगा, बैर न विग्रह आस न त्रासा, सुखमय ताही सदा सब आशा। यानी भेदभाव, पीड़ा, परेशानी से मुक्ति, समाज में शांति और सुख हो। ये धर्मध्वज हमें संकल्पित करेगा, नहीं दरिद्र को दुखी न दीना। यानी हम ऐसा समाज बनाएं जहां गरीबी न हो, कोई दुखी या लाचार न हो।
We have Tughlaq editor Swaminathan Gurumurthy joining us. He's also a public intellectual. Thank you, Mr. Gurumurthy, for speaking to NDTV, for your time. My first question to you, sir. This is the third big ceremony that's happening with regard to the Ram Temple. We had the Bhumi Pujan, then we had the Pran Pratishtha, and now the Dwajarohan. The opposition is saying that this is the BJP trying to push its agenda and make Hindutva normal in Indian society. I do feel that the Prime Minister is also trying to shift national narrative to development plus culture first politics. What is the sense that you're getting?
Actually, if you look at only India, in isolation as compared to what is happening in the world, it will become small local politics. Unless we see that the world order post World War II was anti-civilizational and it imposed the American view on the world. And I will capture you that is in 1951 in the Measures for the Development of Underdeveloped Nations. The United Nations said that you have to give up your philosophy, you have to scrap your philosophy, you have to scrap your social values, you have to scrap your relationships, then only you can develop. That was the advisory given to the world. And the whole world followed it because it is the victors who said it, and the people who said it were people who had nothing to do with civilization. America had no civilization. And that became the model for the world. And communists also agreed with that because they wanted to destroy all the old civilizations. So, liberal America and communists joined together to impose a world order which was anti-civilizational. But that was not sustainable. Every country began recalling its civilizational values. And China, which wanted to destroy its civilizational values in 1965 through the Cultural Revolution, began reclaiming it through Neo-Confucian model.
Okay.
From 2001, at around the same time, Japan began doing. At around the same time, Russia began doing. In 2021, Xi Jinping declared in the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party that Chinese civilization will guide China now and forever in future. It is a 10,000-year-old civilization.
Okay.
What has communists to do with civilization? One. Russia declared, Putin declared Russia as a civilizational state in 2024. Japan, which was prevented from deifying the Yasukuni temple by the American administration, began recognizing the Yasukuni temple in 2001. It contained the names of 2.8 million Japanese soldiers who laid down their life. That is the Atma of Japan. And the entire world pounced on them for celebrating Yasukuni temple when the Japanese Prime Minister Koizumi went and worshipped.
Okay.
Afterwards, he came, Abe came and regularized it. The same thing happened in Ram Janmabhoomi.
Right.
It is a civilizational movement. If you want to reduce it to religion, it's your fault.
Right.
Because when the Supreme Court had said the word Hindu means the ethos, way of life, and the future of this country, if you want to reduce it, then you go and fight with the Supreme Court. Why are you fighting with the BJP?
Right. But Mr. Gurumurthy, just to be the devil's advocate here, a lot of people also believe in the opposition that India is a diverse country and there are several communities here, and one person's idea of civilization might mean different for some people. Like Udayanidhi Stalin in our state of Tamil Nadu is saying that why should we spend so much on Sanskrit because it's a dead language and we should be focusing on Tamil. Isn't that a different idea of civilization then?
But what has Stalin to do with Tamil if he's a Dravidian party? Because E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar, who founded the Dravidian party and gave the ideology, that was a racial ideology. It had nothing to do with culture. And he said Tamil is a barbaric language. At least they say Sanskrit is a dead language. Tamil people are barbarians. Tirukural is a human stool kept on a golden plate. If you touch Tamil, it is Sanatana Dharma. This is what Dravidian leader said. So long as DMK claims to be Dravidian, it has nothing to do with Tamil.
Okay.
It has no language. So many people do not know this. And you can easily lie today. So I don't want to get into illiterate way of handling the Indian civilization. If the Supreme Court had said the word Hindu is civilizational, cultural, the ethos of India, and if the idea of Hindu is seen as that which is not Muslim, not Christian in the constitution,
Right.
it includes Hindu, Sikhs, Baudd, everybody, that there is an Indian mainstream civilization which is trans-religious. The
Right.
word religion is not applicable to India. This is brought from outside because we have no conflict with any other religion. Once you accept all religions, then you are not religious, you are philosophical.
Right.
Other religions are ideological because for them there is we are right, the other person is wrong.
Right.
Hindus never said. Why are
It's
you
a civilizational moment. I get that, Mr. Gurumurthy. But, sir, one thing that the Prime Minister has been harping on is the fact that he wants all of us to get rid of the slave mentality. But how do we ensure this path to modernity? And I do believe that modernity is also important. Not everything about ancient India was nice. How do we ensure that we get the best of both worlds, that we have pride over what we had, but at the same time also correct a lot of mistakes that we made in the past?
Vasudha, even the media is so illiterate today that the idea of modernity being associated with the West has been questioned in the West itself. And Sebastian Conrad came out with a massive book, Multiple Modernities. Every civilization modernizes in its own way. China modernizes in its own way. Japan modernizes in its own way. India modernizes in its own way. Modernity is contemporaneity. It has nothing to do with somebody. If you are wearing coat, you are modern. If I am wearing a tikka, I am unmodern. It's a very, very poor way of judging people. So modernity means you exchange ideas. That is what Mahatma Gandhi said. You have to keep your windows open, but you should not be blown off. That is the modernity that we are saying. If you think you are modern, only if you think the way the British did.
Right.
Or English. If you speak English, you are modern. If you speak Hindi, you are not modern. Tamil, you are not modern. It's a very poor way of judging modernity.
Right.
Sridhar Vembu, my friend, he is challenging Microsoft, wearing dhoti, sitting in a village. If he goes and addresses a meeting in Bombay Stock Exchange, he will not be regarded as a modern man. That is the illiteracy of Bombay Stock Exchange and not Sridhar Vembu.
Right.
So these things have changed. We are still frozen in the old mentality.
Yeah. So that's very nicely said. Keep your windows open. And S. Gurumurthy there quoting Mahatma Gandhi and also the Prime Minister and making it clear that modernity has different forms to it and it doesn't need to be only from the west of India. Thank you, Gurumurthy, sir, for joining us with those insights. We are also joined by Rashmi Sawant, who's the author of Ram Janmabhoomi, the inspiration for Hindu. We have Gauri Dwivedi, my colleague, who's been reporting since morning, since yesterday on the Ram Temple Dhwajarohan. We also have Sanjay Jha joining us. He's a political analyst and an author. Thank you all of you for being part of this broadcast. Gauri, to you first. What is happening there? Finally, have the festivities, in fact, toned down a little bit, or is Ayodhya still in that festive spirit?
I think, Vasudha, those festivities have just begun because, the moment those restrictions were lifted, that suddenly there were tens and hundreds of devotees just lining up and going. Right behind me is that gate of Ram Mandir, Jagat Guru Ramanand Acharya Dwar this is. And from here, in fact, now that queue of devotees is actually petered down, and the reason for that is because there is only that much time left for darshan. But the enthusiasm, the spirit of celebration, the feeling of acknowledgement of the sheer, volume of what was actually accomplished today is something that I felt was common thread across all devotees, whether they were literate, whether those who had not studied so much, whether those who were locals, whether those who had come from down south. Vasudha, I actually met a lot of devotees who had come wearing a single piece of unstitched clothing, just how they do in southern temples, Ayyappa temple and several others. These were actually a family from Kerala, and all of them, the common thread that bound all of them was this feeling of huge achievement, that sense of achievement which was personal to all of them. I think that was something that was the highlight for me through the course of the last 2 days, where I've spoken to so many devotees. Yes, it's a milestone. Yes, it's a civilizational moment for all of us. You've spoken to S. Gurumurthy, who spoke about the need to embrace, Indian values and Bharatiya civilizational values. But for all of those people who are here at this moment, here in the mandir, and those wanting to come, for them it's just a closure of a 500-year-old saga that has come to an end together today. 500 long years it took for them to reach here, and they're all just soaking in the moment, understanding and deeply aware of its huge spiritual, religious significance.
Very important. Thank you, Gauri Dwivedi. Stay with us. We also have Swati Mishra joining us. She's a singer, somebody who in some ways defined the Pran Pratishta with her songs. Swati Mishra, what are your initial thoughts today after the ceremony got over, and especially after what all the Prime Minister said today?
Yeah. Namaste, Jai Shri Ram आप सभी लोगों को. So I'm overwhelmed and I'm really emotional. I want to be there. वहाँ जाना चाहती हूँ और वहाँ जाके सब आंखों से देखना चाहती हूँ. बट ठीक है, आप सबके साथ जुड़ी हूँ और ध्वजारोहण में सुबह से देख रही हूँ आप सबके साथ. तो मेरे लिए थोड़ा इमोशनल मोमेंट इसलिए है क्योंकि प्रभु श्री राम की बड़ी कृपा मेरे ऊपर हुई है. मेरे एक भजन के वजह से प्रभु श्री राम ने मुझे इतनी पहचान, इतना प्रेम और इतना सम्मान पूरे देश में दिलाया, और बाद में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने खुद उसको ट्वीट किया. तो मेरे लिए प्रभु श्री राम का वो मंदिर और मूर्ति बहुत ज्यादा स्पेशल है और इमोशनल है मेरे लिए.
राइट. स्वाति जी, हम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे, जो आपका वो भजन था जो हम सब सुनते आए हैं, प्लीज 2 लाइन सुना दीजिए उसके.
जरूर सुनाऊंगी. हो राम आएंगे तो अंगना सजाऊंगी, दीप जला के दिवाली मैं मनाऊंगी, मेरे जन्मों के सारे पाप मिट जाएंगे, राम आएंगे, मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे. हो राम आएंगे, आएंगे, राम आएंगे, हो राम आएंगे, आएंगे, राम आएंगे, मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे. जय श्री राम.
स्वाति जी, थैंक यू सो मच. ये बताइए, लास्ट क्वेश्चन आपसे, कि जब ये गाना इतना हिट हो गया था, आपको अंदाजा भी था कि इस गाने को हर घर, हर हाउस होल्ड सुनेगा भारत में? आपने सोचा था कि इतना पॉपुलर हो जाएगा?
बिल्कुल भी नहीं, बिल्कुल भी अंदाजा नहीं था. जिस गाने को अंदाजे के साथ बनाते हैं उस गाने के साथ कुछ खास अच्छा होता नहीं है. और ये गाना हमने इतनी जल्दी में इसको बनाया और शूट किया क्योंकि मुझे किसी काम से अपने होम टाउन निकलना था और मेरा सेटअप सब मुंबई में है. तो मैं 3-4 गाने स्टॉक में लेके जा रही थी कि 1-1.5 महीने तक मैं घर जा रही हूँ तो मैं इसको अपलोड करूंगी यूट्यूब पे, क्योंकि मैं यूट्यूब करती थी और मुझे लगा था नॉर्मल 1-1.5 लाख 2 लाख व्यूज जाएंगे. बट जैसे मैंने इसको अपलोड किया और 2-3 दिन बाद मेरे घर जाने की फ्लाइट थी, एयरपोर्ट से जो सिलसिला शुरू हुआ, आज इन्होंने पोस्ट किया, कल उन्होंने पोस्ट किया, आज बी पराग सर ने इस पे रील बना दिया, कल उन्होंने रेल मंत्री ने बना दिया. तो ऐसा करके मुझे अनएक्सपेक्टेड जो खुशियां हैं वो मिलती गई और फाइनली जनवरी में इसको हमारे पीएम ने ट्वीट किया. तो बिल्कुल भी मुझे कोई ना अंदाजा था ना प्लान था. मैं अभी भी कोई काम करती हूँ, कोई गाना करती हूँ, इनफैक्ट मैं अपने स्टूडियो में बैठ के भी भजन ही रिकॉर्ड कर रही हूँ, लेकिन कोई प्लानिंग नहीं होती है उसके पीछे.
Right. Thank you, Swati Mishra, for joining us and wishing you a lot of success ahead with more songs. Thank you so much, ma'am. Sanjay Jha and Rashmi Samant, you heard everybody there. Sanjay Jha, to you first. You heard S. Gurumurthy there speaking about how there's nothing political about this ceremony. It's all about civilizational glory, and all of us need to be one in its celebration. What are your thoughts?
Vasudha, good evening. I need to tell you upfront, I'll have to leave within the next 2 minutes. I have a show at 7:30. So I'll keep my answer very brief and move on. My simple answer is that, I think when everyone celebrates Bhagwan Ram, and I read a copy of the text that the Prime Minister has talked about, that we must invoke Bhagwan Ram within us, then I think as somebody who is a practicing Hindu, I can tell you that Bhagwan Ram's teachings are very inclusive. They include compassion, tolerance, love, bravery, courage, and creating a society based on oneness and a lot of respect for diverse voices. So I do hope that the Prime Minister and his political party walks the talk, because Bhagwan Ram cannot be just a religious symbol. He is beyond that, a way of life, right? That's what we talk about.
Right.
End of day, when we talk of civilizations, it's about behavior. It's about the values that we practice. And the only reason why this has, Vasudha, become political is only for one reason. That end of day Hinduism, and I'm a Hindu, I can tell you that Hinduism is a very eclectic religion. In my opinion, it's a universal religion that basically encompasses multiple gods, multiple voices, multiple languages. And I think if we don't appreciate the diversity of Hinduism, if we don't kind of understand it beyond this very narrow parochial conversation of today's time, which is by Hindutva, which is more like a political instrument of voter
But Mr. Jha, before I let you go, there are also temples dedicated to Valmiki and Nishad Raja and Shabri here. Isn't that something that makes the temple inclusive? And this is also probably a new form of Hindutva, isn't it?
Is that a question to me?
Yes, Mr. Jha, before I let you go.
Yeah. So my simple answer to that will be that that's exactly what I mentioned, that we have to rise beyond this extremely narrow-minded, parochial approach to religion. I think the most disturbing aspect, frankly speaking, and Vasudha, you and I probably have done shows on it, and it'll happen every day, is the indoctrination of the religious bigotry that has slipped into India's political vocabulary. And that, to me, as a citizen of this country, not as somebody who represents the opposition, will be the sign of apprehension. So while we celebrate, and we should, it's a historic day in more ways than one, the learnings and how we execute or implement the values that Bhagwan Ram stood for will ultimately define us as a country.
Right. Rashmi, how would you respond to that? Because clearly there are ifs and buts here, and the fact that, we probably are not inclusive enough as a society, and that Ram Temple is just optics. How would you respond to that?
Well, if you look at reclamation movements across the world, wherein majoritarian communities have reclaimed places of their worship, you can look at Poland, where the Russians took over the Catholic churches and converted them to Orthodoxy when they occupied Poland. And right after the occupation ended, the Polish were quick to get rid of any signs of orthodoxy and reclaim that civilizational identity in a jiffy. But in Bharat, a 500-year-long battle was waged, and it was a battle of courage, sacrifice, and devotion, not one of force wherein another community is disadvantaged in any way. And this movement ended up bringing the community closer. If you look at the 3,000 crores, which was collected from donations of civilians, you see people from every section of society, every class, cutting across class. You have donations as small as 11 rupees. You have people donating beyond their means by borrowing money. You have people of other faith
donating money to this cause.
Right.
I think the staff of actor Pawan Kalyan, if I'm recollecting clearly, who were Christians and Muslims, they actually donated money just to, show solidarity with this thing when the actor donated. So I think this movement has healed this nation more than not. It has healed the collective scars that colonization left on the collective psyche of this nation, that Islamic occupation left on the collective psyche of this nation, and it has enabled us to be a better population,
Right.
wherein our sense of justice is heightened. It is directed by what Bhagwan Ram upheld during his regime, that we all love and revere as a Ram Rajya, where everybody had a place. Even the non-speaking animals had a place in that kingdom. So I think that is the essence of the path
But
forward.
Rashmi, before I sort of go to the other guest, the political class is not unified on this. I get your point about communities coming together, donating, and this ceremony, this temple movement has also united a lot of people. But the political class is still divided on this. Why is it that it is still seen in some segments and circles as a BJP temple and not really a temple of the people?
I think end of the day, politics is about retaining power and criticizing the party in power to get ahead. So I wouldn't take that very seriously. I think it's impossible to find all political parties united, because if that happens, then how are they going to hold out any hope of coming back to power? It is the basic essence of politics to criticize and to label any forward leap whatsoever. And I would categorize that as political speak, because a lot of people today who would have been vocal against every BJP policy, including the panelist right before me, are somewhat more amenable to this than not.
Yeah.
So I think that is a positive change.
Do you see a sense of caution? Because I do recognize that when I speak to opposition leaders, they're far more careful now on speaking about Ram. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because you come from academics, and I know you cherish freedom of speech as well. So a lot of people are not really speaking out on what they feel. Is that a good thing?
Well, I think this is still a democratic country. Politicians do not, stay quiet or not depending on freedom of speech. They've always had ample freedom of speech. They've said whatever they wanted to say. It's only based on how the people will react. Yeah. So as long as the common person has the freedom to express what they want to, and the political class are afraid of the reaction that people will give them, I think it's all right. I would be worried if the common person had no space to say what they wanted to, which they are in throngs. I mean, not just in India. I have friends across the world in America, second generation Hindus, who have all organized Sundarkand the whole week. The previous weekend onwards, the next weekend included, they've organized Sundarkand in their homes, because this is not just, like I said, it's civilizational. It is not bounded by the boundaries of India. It is bound by a common faith that believes in all the ethos, including, the very freedom of speech. So I wouldn't be worried if politicians were the ones, feigning caution, as long as the citizens have their right to say what they want to.
But Rashmi, also somebody, who has spent a lot of time in academics, this is something that worries me. I want faith to be a weapon that empowers people. I don't want people to be immersed in faith all the time. How do you find the right balance? Because, I also want my fellow Indians to be forward-thinking, progressive, inclined towards science. How do you ensure that your faith does not really pull you down?
Very interesting question. And I think I would like to start off by very quickly defining modernity. What is modernity? Modernity is the advent of when, Copernicus and the likes, Galileo Galilei, said that the earth was not flat and that it was spherical, and people were against that. And then they said these people are bringing modern ideas and they're trying to corrupt the society. But here you have a civilizational value which was modern from the get-go, which is scientific in its practice, which is scientific in its way of conduct, in respecting all the earthly elements, in knowing the relationship between the things. It has given the world zero. It has given the world Ayurveda. It has given the world yoga. So something that is so scientific, I think it enables its practitioners to be more forward thinking and conscious of where they come from than not, because it believes in the unbounded nature of knowledge and not a singular way of thinking. So if these people were always modern, albeit the way modernity was defined by the Westerners, we were always modern, because Bhugol is the word for geography in every language in India. When the Westerners were still fighting that the earth was flat, and then they said that calling it spherical was modern. So I think it is very unfortunate that we imbibed the word modern from the West in English, but we have internalized it.
So that's very interesting. So probably we need to take pride in our knowledge systems. Completely out of time, Rashmi, but thank you so much for your insights, and we'll take this discussion forward someday soon. The Prime Minister also took part in this ceremony today, and joining us now is Anuradha Podwal, who's the face of devotional singing in India. Thank you, ma'am, for speaking to NDTV, for your time. It's a special day today. The Prime Minister has said that all of us have to awaken the Ram within us, and this temple is a foundation for thousands of years, and that it means a lot of civilizational pride for the country. What does Ram mean for you, Lord Ram mean for you personally?
मुझे लगता है कि सिर्फ भगवान राम का मंदिर स्थापन करने से नहीं होता. हम सबको ये प्रार्थना करनी चाहिए कि सबके अंदर का राम भी जग जाए, और यहाँ पर क्योंकि भगवान राम के वैल्यूज़ को भी, आदर्श को भी हमें अपनाना बहुत ज़रूरी है. और मैं आशा करती हूँ और भगवान से प्रार्थना करती हूँ कि वो खुद ही सबके अंदर का राम जगाए, क्योंकि हम चाहे कितनी भी कोशिश करें, लेकिन जब तक भगवान राम का आशीर्वाद नहीं होता तो ये पॉसिबल नहीं होता है. तो ईश्वर से यही प्रार्थना है मेरी कि हम सबके अंदर का राम वो जगाए और हमें बहुत आशीर्वाद दे.
अनुराधा जी, आपने इतने भजन गाए हैं, यहाँ के कितने जनरेशन्स हैं जो आपको आपके गानों से याद करते हैं. आज के मौके पे ऐसा कोई भजन है, कोई गाना है जो आपको याद आ रहा हो?
आज के इस पुण्य अवसर पे मैं कुछ पंक्तियाँ प्रस्तुत करना चाहूँगी. वस्तु अमोलिक दे मेरे सतगुरु, कृपा कर अपनायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो. जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाई, जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाई, जग में सभी खोवायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो. जय श्री राम. और दोबारा से आप सभी को आज के इस पावन अवसर की बहुत बहुत मंगलमय शुभकामनाएं. जय श्री राम.
Thank you. That was Anuradha Podwal on the ceremony that took place today in Ayodhya. The Prime Minister has said that it's important to awaken the Ram in all of us and participate in nation building. With that, it's time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.